I think one of the keys that I've learned, if you're a creator or you're a founder that wants to really create content, you need to be able to detach your emotions from the vanity metrics. Even if you see that's 50 views, that's 50 people that saw you. Like, just detach your emotion. So like whether you get 1 million or whether you get 10, you're indifferent. What keeps me going every day is, number one, I love what I do, but really just the pursuit of just being great.
Welcome to the Captain Curt Show. I'm your host, Curt Marker, where we talk business, real estate, and building wealth that anybody can achieve a financial freedom lifestyle. All right, welcome back to the Captain Curt Show. This week I've got an exciting guest. I got Brandon Fortino. You might have seen him everywhere, creating brands, storytelling. He is the guy that got my content career started. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a long journey that you had, you know?
Yeah, we've been talking about doing a podcast together, like before I had the studio, or, you know, we kind of just, I know I was shifting my, not image or brand a little bit, got carried one side, kind of come back to where I want it to be, right?
Yes.
It's wild how your brand can kind of go where followers take you.
Yep.
And it might not be the exact direction, or it might not, you know, monetize. So
yeah, I
spent a lot of time mentoring pilots, which I really like, but man, it took up a lot of my time.
At least now you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like,
so I like mentoring, but, you know, I don't want to run it as a business. So I'm back to just kind of doing private charters and jet sales and flying and doing real estate. It's plenty of doing that.
Just private charters and jet sales. So, you know, boring stuff, right?
Yeah, you got to come see a jet in Vegas when I saw you.
I did.
Chris Luna.
I remember that. That was my first time in a flying jet.
Yeah.
And I think that's like just reshaped my model of the world. You know what I mean? Like, just seeing that, wow, this is possible.
When you go to an airport and you actually see all the private jets, that's just one small little airport.
Yeah.
And that was at Henderson, not even Las Vegas main airport.
True.
So it's
I didn't even remember that.
It's a secondary airport. And I mean, there were 50 jets on the ramp. So
wow.
People think there's a few rich people out there. There are a lot of rich people.
I bet.
So, well, hey, I mean, I know your story mostly, but the audience and the listeners don't. I mean, I think it's a really cool story. But, you know, what's your personal story? Maybe like a version that you don't always tell.
Okay, that's a good one. So I was born and raised in Jakarta in Indonesia, which is, if you don't know where that's at, it's in Southeast Asia. Grew up there for about 12 years. My mom and my dad separated when I was 2, and I basically grew up with my grandparents till the age of 12 when I get to the US. And throughout that time, I was able to learn all of my entrepreneurs and all of my almost like core values from my grandparents that taught me like, hey, you need to be a good person, you need to make it out there. And until I got the opportunity to actually be in the US, and I started to realize that, right? So when I moved to the States, grew up very, very like low income. And I remember one of the times where my family didn't even have money to pay our utility bills, and we almost got our electricity shut off. So that really what sparked my entrepreneurship journey. I would say, like, I remember I had that feeling that I never wanted to be like this anymore. And I, didn't really know what kind of things I want to get into until I encountered a camera back in my high school days. And I actually enjoyed the artistic side of things, telling stories, and started out just doing my high school's like promotional videos like every single week for about 2 years. That was able to, and I fell in love with the passion. Like, it just kept doing it every single week, get better at it. And at the time, I didn't know I was directing, producing, writing, casting, every single thing at once. And went to school here in San Diego. Ended up starting the business in college, and this is where you see me today, when we help brands scale and make them go from unknown to undisputed in their industry. So that's a long story short.
I love it though. It's cool that you migrated from Indonesia and you created the American dream over here, and a lot of people from other countries want to get over here, and a lot of Americans take it for granted.
Yeah, man. I think it hasn't always been like this. I think the appreciation of what America had to offer for me came, I would say, halfway through my time here in the US, because back in Asia, I was the only child. My grandparents spoiled me basically. Like, if I wanted to go out to eat, I was like, I could. We're not rich by any means, but we're like comfortable enough where we could, go out to eat here and there. And when I came here to the US, my family is very, very low income. Like, I remember if we were to go out to eat, that means dollar menu from Taco Bell. That's why I despise Taco Bell now, because I remember the only thing I would get is bean and cheese burritos. That's all I could get because we don't have money. And at the time I was like, why am I trading this life that I had comfortably in Asia for this? Like I questioned that, and I wanted to move back so much at the time. But then I remember one of the stories that my friend in Indo told me. So we're still great friends till today. Like he's my friend from my elementary school, and he's like, dude, like everybody would trade lives to be in your position. Whatever problems that you're having right now in the US, like that's everybody's dream. And at the time I was like, wow, like that is true. I need to make the most out of it. And that's where it switched for me. So yeah.
It's a really cool story, and I hope it should inspire people either way, right? Whether they want to immigrate or come to the US, or whether they live here now and they complain about the simple stuff. You know how people are.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how it is from my experience, right? Like it's the little things that you don't really think about as much. That is what I appreciate. I think just the opportunity to pursue what you love doing without any, I guess to a certain point, like repercussions, like I think there's so much opportunity here. And I think a lot of people need to realize that, hey, the U.S. is the greatest country when it comes to building opportunities. Now, yeah, we're not perfect. Like there's, things that could be better. But I think from an overall world perspective, like the best place to create opportunities is here. And I think maximizing that, if you're already born here, that's something that sometimes we forget. And, I get jealous of people that were born here, to begin with. I don't know. I mean, my story could have been a lot different, but I very much appreciate being here. So,
I mean, I think it's anyone could do well. People say, oh, well, I'm poor, I can't go to college, but there's programs or scholarships.
Yeah.
If people are willing to put in the work, they can really do anything in this country.
I took out loans to go to college. And I remember at the time I was like, well, financially speaking, like my family and parents couldn't have paid for me to go to San Diego State. And I would have had to do a community college in Bakersfield. By the time I was like, I wanted to put myself in a situation where there's a lot of people that are thinking about bigger things. I mean, Bakersfield was, it's like there's not as big of a city than San Diego. And I took that chance. I was like, okay, there's something called loans. I didn't even know what I was signing for. I was 18, right? I was like, let's get it to work. And I'm still paying it off today. But I think like there are opportunities if you look to it and if you start with your mindset, right? So
I agree. I did the same thing. So what was broken maybe in the content space that made you start Shortform Pros?
Man, that's a great question. So one of the things that I felt was missing when I started my company, Shortform Pros, was the understanding and the blend between videos, content, and marketing. So when I first learned and encountered the space of the creative space, I got in love with the artistic side of things, like making things cinematic, making things look really good, the story really well done. And I was able to do that throughout my time in college. I was working at a digital marketing agency. I was working at a student loan company, and I was in their marketing, creating videos for them. And when I started my business, I realized that, man, the connect between the artists and then the marketing side is just very far. Like people don't need another really cinematically beautiful videos. Maybe, if you're a Fortune 500 companies, like, you want to have a big brand. But I think a lot of people need to understand how to blend that new age of media into their business. So that's kind of where I came into the place. I was like, well, I studied marketing. I had a lot of experience in marketing back then when I was working at a digital marketing agency. And I had this also like hobby/passion I've been growing since I was 14. Why can't we blend that together? And I remember working with my very, very earliest clients, like early in 2020, like we were creating really good videos. And I was like, these videos will be good if you put it on your website. And what did they do? They put it on Instagram. And I was like, that's why it's not performing. They don't know how to navigate the media space. And I think that's where we seek to fill up that gap when I first started it. And it has evolved to become what we have today. But yeah.
What makes a brand stick out in a world full of noise? Because there's a lot of competition now.
Wow, if you want to stick out in today's content world, you really have to do, I would say 3 things. Number 1 is you got to be genuine and authentic. A lot of people are too afraid to be authentic because they're afraid of themselves. Like you're a good example of this. Like you are very authentic in what you do, what you say. You're very aligned. That's number 1. Because when you're authentic, you're already different, right? The second thing is you also want to be able to, I would say like have an opinion. Like a lot of people are just too surface level. They're afraid to, whatever, like, they want it to please their boss, please their mom. They want to be like this nice little, kind of like image for everybody. So number 2 is just having an opinion. Like, you as a human, everybody has an opinion. So stick to that. And I think that's going to push you forward. And I think last but not least it sounds basic, but it's consistency. Because if you're not consistent in what you do, you're not going to be able to build a brand. Like, most people like fall off after about 3 months of pushing. And I think I've been doing content for myself since 2022, but for other people since 2020. I think the longer you're staying in the game, people are watching like, oh my God, these people are still here, Whereas like if you just pop up and then you disappear, pop up and you disappear, or maybe even you just stop trying after all, like you're not gonna build any brand. I think Gary Vee took him 16 years to build a brand. Mr. Beast took him 7 years to get to 100,000 subscribers. So it's like, it takes time. But if you can be consistent, I strongly believe it's one of the most powerful things that you can do today. It's like one of the biggest unfair advantages that you can do today.
Yeah, I agree. What's a branding mistake almost every founder makes early on?
Ooh, that's a really good one. There's a lot.
Yeah. What do you think a main one is?
I think
because you work with a lot of founders.
I do work with a lot of, and across many different industries that we work with. I think one of the biggest things is going back to not being authentic. I think just sticking through what they know best, sharing their stories. Because a lot of these founders, they got to where they are, they have a story, right, on why they made the business, why they made the jump, or even if they already, they're about to start the jump, like they have the reason why they're really good at that. And I think these are one of the things where, if you've seen one of the Gen Z, Gen Alpha like founders, that are like founding companies right now at this very young age, they know that very well. They're very like open book. Here's why I'm doing this, what I'm doing, right? Whereas a lot of the founders that's already been in the game for a while, I think they have this, I want to call it like shame almost, to be able to share some of those parts that goes up and down. So I think just being vulnerable and knowing that not everybody's gonna like you. Like, you probably already know from content, like, for every 1 million views, you have 200 people that don't like you probably in the comments. But for the other 800, you're probably gonna get a lot of people that's gonna like you, right? So, so I think being just genuinely authentic and yourself, talking about what you're passionate about, and actually just be aligned with your messaging. I think that's one of the
I agree.
things.
And I think early on, content's hard. It doesn't come natural to most.
Right.
The ones that it comes natural to, they get ahead really quick because they're just good at storytelling, because that's an art form in my opinion.
Right.
I know early on for me, it was like, it felt awkward and I didn't know how to tell the story right. Like, I'm a good talker. I can have a great conversation. I can go deep. That's my strength. But storytelling is not one of my strengths. So that's why I think if you're a founder and you want to get started in content, creating and telling your brand story and what you're doing, you really have to hire someone like you, because that's your expertise, in my opinion, is creating the story that will sell or connect with people. And I think that's what makes a company like yours stand out.
Right.
And that's where I think you're getting at with the founders. Like, they may know how to get there and they know their story, but how do you tell it correctly?
Right.
And how do you be authentic?
Right.
Like, get to the deeper.
Yep.
What's the deeper inside of you of why you created the brand or the company? Correct. You know what I mean? I have a real estate development company, but why do I do real estate?
Right.
Not just a simple answer of, oh, hey, I'm trying to create generational wealth for my kids and blah, 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 freedom. Right. That's all true, but what's the real authentic, deeper side? Right.
Like why it's the reason, right? And I think if you want to be successful at content, you got to realize that it's a skill, right? It's like everything else, like going to the gym, lifting weights, I was a fat kid. Like I didn't know what the gym was, had no interest in working out. And then I was able to get to 1,000 pound club, like, I don't know, 8 years later after my gym journey, right? It takes years of practice to get there. And I think content is the same way. Storytelling has frameworks. It's the how. People are like, how to be authentic? How do I tell a story? It's the how. Now you can do it yourself and figure it out. And a lot of these like people that are creating content are successful at that, which is awesome. And some people need personal coaches, some people to guide them through, right? Like that's gonna get them faster to where they are. So I think if you realize that it's a skill that you can learn, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't be in front of the camera. I'm so awkward. Like, you're already setting yourself to failure by saying that, right? It's like, why don't you reframe that framework to be like, how can I be more confident in front of the camera? How can I speak in a more engaging way? And if you think about it as a skill set, you'll be able to build on that skill set over time.
Yeah, and I think for people out there just getting started in content, or they feel that way, for me, it took many reps. I felt like I had to perfect the right words. But then in the long run, I realize being more authentic and not scripting something so much, having an outline is great.
Right.
Like have it, but you don't have to have the perfect words.
Yep.
And I think the authentic part actually performs better than a perfectly scripted actor style video.
Right.
So if you mess up a word or two, either A, reshoot it, no big deal. You don't post everything you film,
Right.
And but I think you can't be afraid of messing up on camera or looking dumb, or it just kind of is what it is if you want to put yourself out there.
I think one of the keys that I've learned, if you're a creator or you're a founder that wants to really create content, you need to be able to detach your emotions from the vanity metrics. You need to detach yourself from the views, the comments, and even if you see that's 50 views, this is when very, very things doesn't work out, 50 views, that's 50 people that saw you. Just detach your emotion. So whether you get 1 million or whether you get 10, you're indifferent. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to, you're not going to learn from it. Now, if you're getting 1 million views, you want to learn from that experience, right? But I think a lot of people put so much of their emotion and personal self-worth into these vanity metrics. Oh my God, people just commented something bad. They're like, oh, you're a fake or whatever. If you look at my YouTube comments, it's pretty crazy, But when you're detaching yourself, you can now figure out how to become a better presenter, I guess, in a way, and not worry so much and be so swayed on the actual metrics, and you can focus on what is going to get you better, which is improving on the skill sets. Take all the good advice from the comments and leave up some of the bad ones. A lot of trolls are out there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I still deal with haters, and they just in the beginning you get real pissed. You're like, these people don't know me, which is all true.
Yeah.
Then you just start realizing, well, this is what happens with content. You have haters, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They
don't know you.
Say weird stuff.
Yeah.
No joke. Weird, some offensive and all that. Whatever. People call me fat. And I'm like, I'm not even fat. But people get jealous. It's mostly jealousy or things like that. But you just have to, like you said, take the emotion out of it and just keep moving forward, because you do affect people in a good way as well. And that's the only reason you're doing it, right?
Right.
I mean, people should only really do content if they want to grow their business, their brand, and help people. I mean, that's what most businesses do. Businesses are started to help people do something.
Right.
Right, no matter what it is.
It's like if you get 1,000 views and let's say you get 100 bad comments, a lot of people tend to focus on the 100 bad comments and you're just like, oh my God, this is so bad, I shouldn't be doing this. But what about the other 900 people that you impacted positively? There's a lot more people there, but we don't think that way unless we actually actively try to think that way. So
yeah, totally agree. When did you realize you had a gift for helping founders?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I've ever think about that I have this gift. If anything, I think I realized that I've built up a skill set over time that I think I was able to positively impact founders and businesses. So I never came in to be like, oh my God, I'm I just have a gift and talent for this, because I still remember the first video that I made when I got my camera. You wouldn't believe this, but it was back in Bakersfield. I had my park because my room was too dark. I got my camera from 3 months of saving my salary when I was working at a retail store back then. And I just picked up my soccer ball and I just kicked around my soccer ball and just I learned how to edit from there, And I think I never thought of it that way where I have the gift for it, but I think over time I've developed this skill sets that become very valuable, especially in our media space today. And I see an opportunity where I can help people for it. And that's what drives me forward when it comes to the business, because I really think one of my biggest values in my career is impact. That's part of the reason why I left the digital marketing agency. I left the student loan company because I don't feel like I was making impact there. And I think using my skill set, I'm able to create a bigger impact in the world because I help these amazing founders share their stories that will impact their own communities. So that's kind of the reason behind that.
Yeah, it's great. What do you look for when building a personal branding? Not one that just stands out, one that converts.
One that stands out and that converts. I feel like there's a couple of things. Number one is, what is your unique differentiator? The first thing that I do, kind of the same thing that, well, back then when we were to do content together, was what makes you different? What is the story behind this? I'm trying to get to know a lot of things that happen about you that makes you unique as a person. Maybe a story, maybe a particular experience, maybe an expertise in a certain skill. That's all of that stuff. The second thing is I try to learn who is the audience they are trying to attract. So the clearer who you're speaking to, you'll be able to speak to them more confidently, and you can impact them more. You can speak their language. Like talking to pilots, they would understand what like all the certification that you talk to, right? But that is not my audience. Like I wouldn't have understanding like when you talk about pilot certification. So knowing the audience very clearly of who are we trying to reach. And number three is most importantly, and honestly, the most important part when creating this is, what is the goal? What does conversion mean to you? Because a lot of people have a lot of different definitions, and in their head, they have a lot of different ways they think conversion is. Is conversions getting people to click in the link in your bio? Is conversion mean people attending your workshop? Is conversion literally means ordering, going to the website landing page and ordering, right? Is conversion means people resharing the content, right? So I think there's a lot of definitions of what conversion is, and defining that and having a clear goal and having a clear who are we talking to and have a clear understanding of who that founder is, all that three would make a winning brand.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's true. Converting is something different. Some people might just want attention to the brand without a conversion, right? Maybe they want growth.
Right.
That's converting in one way, right?
Right, exactly. But growth can be a way as conversion, right?
Especially if, like, let's say you're a long-form YouTube creator.
Right.
I mean, you want attention for YouTube. Maybe that's your goal. Get views on YouTube to get paid that way.
Get monetized, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That could be a goal. That could be getting conversion. Maybe getting booked on podcasts. That could be a conversion,
that's
right?
True.
Some people are like, we have this founder that's, if they're about to launch a book, for example, maybe getting people on the wait list for their book, stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of different ways you can measure conversion.
Mm-hmm. How do you approach repositioning someone who's like pivoting or reintroducing themselves?
Pivoting, give me an example.
Pivoting, maybe it's like maybe one because I'm in real estate.
Yeah.
One real estate class to another. So maybe they're like flipping houses and their whole brand is on flipping houses.
Yeah.
Tariq El-Moussi is one of these, even though he's been on TV shows and all that.
Okay.
And now he's building storage and multifamily units with other partners. So everyone knows him as the HGTV guy with the wife. They had their show together. Now that he has a new wife, and so he's very famous for flipping homes. But now he's getting into the commercial real estate space. Mm-hmm. He has a capital company. They're raising money now. He never used to raise money. Mm-hmm. So that's someone that, to me, that's pivoting. Even though it's real estate, it's like, what's the pivot?
Yeah, I think when you break it down at the very core, and I learned this from my mentors, Caleb Ralston, Alex Ramosi, all of them. Brand at the essence of it is associations, right? Right now, people have things that they're associated with you with. And that association can be an emotion. That association can be an object. That association can be almost like a view that they have in their mind about you and the feelings, right? If I say Louis Vuitton, you would think gold, leather, right? You would think they're loud logos, right? They're very like crazy, in-person experiences in their stores. When I say Buffalo Wild Wings, you think about the loud, crowded TV, sports. There's an association to it. So I think if you were to pivot or rebrand, think about what is the association that you want to make with that new rebrand. So if you wanted to go into a different asset class, start associating yourself with that different asset class. Make videos in front of that new asset class. Talk about that new assets class, or collaborate with people in that asset class. One of the good example of this is probably like Pace Morby. So you talk about creative financing and all that stuff. He still talks about that. I know that he's been talking about RV parks a lot more nowadays, right? And I see he's making these like slight pivot into that. So I think just carefully thinking about what you're associating yourself to is going to help you a lot when it comes to pivoting or rebranding or anything of that sort.
I like it. How about this? Walk us through a client transformation that gave you chills, or one you're real proud of.
Wow, there's a lot of them. I can talk about yours, but I think that was a really cool one, I think, in my opinion, like how we got like from
Quickly.
like 1,000 to 50,000 followers in like 2 months or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
it happened
Like
quick.
I think two that stood out to mind is yours and Chris Luna's. I think those
Okay.
are two of my I would say like, really cool ones. So with your case scenario, right, at the time when we met, we wanted to grow this brand in piloting space, right? And we created the whole brand, the whole persona. We worked together on that. Like you had a lot of inputs already, which is awesome. Marketing. And we recorded inside of the jets. We had the shirts and all that. So we talked about, why you hate like private jet piloting. I remember that video got like 3 million views, something like that.
Why the job sucks.
Yeah.
Flying rich people.
It was like a satirical video, right? And everybody was talking about it. I think to me, what that proves is, number one, there's a shock factor in your niche, right? Because not a lot of people talk about private jet piloting. It was a underserved space, so I think like we nailed that specific positioning in there. We created opinions. Like there's a lot of like opinions in the videos, like that. Your favorite like places that you wanted to go to, maybe like I'm trying to remember all the videos that we did. Like there's a lot of them, and we were like a little bit controversial too as a brand, right? We were like, okay, we were pushing this interesting narrative about why being a private jet pilot is better than being a regular pilot, right? So I think that growth from just on Instagram, we got like 50,000 followers, and I forgot on TikTok, I think it's like 20,000, something along those, and 15 maybe. I think that was really cool, and you're able to build the communities and everything else after. With Chris, in a whole totally different space, I mean, you had him on your podcast as well. I think that one was really cool because that was a more all around kind of like end-to-end marketing funnel that we ended up building. And I think it's a testament of what brand really will be able to do. For context, Chris Luna is a developer and he's develops homes here in San Diego called an ADU, and not the sexiest topic. It's not private jet piloting, right? It's like different, right? And I had the pleasure to meet Chris way back, and I remember he was like, hey, I want to be the most known developer here in San Diego through content and brand. I'm like, dude, let's do it together. So with that, we used the content as a way to, number one, build his authority, right? We figured out all those things. Who is his audience? Who is himself? What makes him unique? And what is the goal of the brand, which is to get more known in the local space. So we created content in front of all his properties. And I remember one specific video, like got him probably like 2 DMs or something like that about people that want to sell their house. And he ended up getting that deal. I don't know how many millions he made out of it. And the brand just established him as a authority. And at the time, we also started his podcast, On the Come Up podcast, which is now he interviewed Dan Martell, Grant Cardone, Rich Summers, all of those people. And I still remember like pushing him to do the podcast at a hotel room in Las Vegas. And I was like, hey, like if we wanted to start, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. So let's do it. The podcast was able to establish his brand as more of like the longer format version of it. Like, okay, you've seen the short, the 60 seconds. Now the podcast is on another level. 6-7 months in, a lot of people wanted to grab coffee with him, and he has a fairly quote unquote decent sized audience. I would say at the time like 5,000 followers, 6,000 maybe. Now he's at like over 10 or 12. Nothing in the 50, but he's able to build such a deep community and deep expertise with the people that he cares about, his audience. I remember specifically this example. We were recording in a video in North Park here in San Diego. And we were in the middle of recording. He got a call from his listing agent that he was he was trying to get that property. He's like, hey, I think we have a message from the seller. And I was like, okay, let's do a detour real quick. We go over there. I couldn't record because the agent didn't want me, didn't like feel shy on the recording, but he says roughly, and I would butcher the exact quote, but he said something along the lines like, hey, there's 12 offers in this thing right now. And the sellers looked at your Instagram, they looked you up on Google, and you showed up, they watched a couple of your videos, and we wanted to give you the deal. Do you want it? Out of 12 offers, he was able to build it because of his brand.
So credibility in the space. You're not a no-namer.
Yes.
I'll tell you this, I develop industrial warehouses now, right?
Yeah.
It's the asset class that I finally found that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent a lot of money and I built a really professional website.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm putting out content now or some YouTube stuff. Not that people just go to the YouTube, but I'm doing education on flex space and industrial warehouse development.
Right.
And I have a lot more coming out as we're about to break ground. But I will say, when my broker puts an offer, he does the same thing. They go, well, how we'll be competing against other people, and they'll be like, they won't have a website, even though they may be a better developer.
Right.
But because I have a really good website, I'm right on top of LinkedIn, you know, things like that. I'm getting offers accepted over other developers.
Yeah.
Even that are more experienced, because like, oh, this guy's the real deal. Look at his website. You know, everybody's in suits and things like that. It's perception. So it does work. And I like Chris's stuff. Even though I have a bigger audience, mine maybe doesn't convert as much. It's a lot of viewers that just like watching things.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I could go after brand deals, most likely, with all the followers I have. I haven't done it yet. Where Chris is, he built a really good community in the exact space he wants, and it's converting on deals. He's partnering with people now.
Right.
There's architects in his community. I mean, I love that.
I want to bring that thing too. Before he was able to partner, right? So what did we do after we built this brand for about 7 months? We went kind of like all into like the long form piece of it. So we're like, okay, if you want to learn more about Chris, we did a live stream every single week on Mondays. I don't know if you remember those times where I used to be the co-host. He was doing the live stream every Monday at, I believe we did like 2 p.m. back then. We did that for like another like 6 months or something like that, 7 months. And that allows people to actually come in, ask him live the questions at scale. Like, yeah, we have like 14 to 20 people at the time of the live stream, but people that rewatch that live stream, he's like, oh my God, he just answered the question. He's a real deal, right? He's like not just BSing me through scripted content. So I think that's the one thing that you got to think about. Is like, as somebody discovers you, how do you bring them down the funnel? Or for those of you who are not familiar with funnels, like how do they build deeper trust with you? And with the longer time spent with them, with Chris, they were able to learn all of that stuff, right? And after the live stream, what did we do? We ended up getting like community, like online community. And now we have an in-person community in Margaritas and Mingle. It's been around for 2 years. It's been consistent all around, right? So, yeah, that's the name of the game, you know, kind of all the testament of that. You know who you want to attract, know what the goal is, know who you are, and now you just build more attention and more time spent through leverage ways like media.
Yeah, so. And it can make a big impact on your own business.
Yeah.
That's where people, like for me, I was doing a lot of aviation stuff. I mean, I still fly private jets, right? But now I'm going to start pushing, like I sell private jet charters, right? And people don't know about it because I don't really talk about it. The one reason I don't talk about it a lot is a lot of people want to go fly a private jet and they can't afford it. But there's also not a lot of education on there, like how expensive is it?
Yeah.
Right? So when people say, hey, I want to go to Vegas, I literally had a friend call, hey, we want to go on a golf trip to Ireland or Scotland in the Gulf Stream. How much is it? And I'm like, well, number one, I'm not even going to look it up.
Yeah.
But I can just roughly guess because I know the hourly rates.
Yeah.
$250,000 round trip. And it's like, and the guy doesn't make 250 grand, you know. Even if you put 10 people on that airplane, it's 25 grand for a flight.
Yeah.
Most people are. I'm
probably
not
not
paying
gonna
for
do
that.
it. Yeah.
I can afford it. I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
I'll sit first class on American for $4 grand or whatever. You know. So that's one thing where when I start doing private jet content, I'm going to put some more stuff out about charters and education.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure people want to know the numbers, but then that way I'm not getting phone calls every day. We're wasting my time. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of that. Amalfi Jets. They crush it on Instagram.
Yep. And TikTok.
Yeah, and a lot of his calls are staged. He gets views. It's great. Of course.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he says 99% of their phone calls do not book or can't even qualify.
Yeah.
So they have like 2 people trying to, and they're learning like, oh, we got to figure out how to qualify. So it's good that he's getting attention.
Yeah. And I think that's now you're solving a different problem, right? Now you have the attention, you have inflows come in. Now, at least as a business person, I would think about like, number one, can you build a team to qualify them, right? Because you don't want to like change the valve in a way, because then like you have less people. You better have more people and qualify them.
How can you qualify them with AI or a system instead of just taking phone calls?
Exactly. Have a system of qualifications and stuff like that. And even like now, like I don't know, I'm just brainstorming now with you. Like imagine like, can we create another offer for these people that is maybe at a different like price point level? I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And I think part of that would be like the different price point really is like JSX.
JSX.
You know,
can you be a partner to JSX?
Yeah, can
you know what I mean?
Be a broker for them? I'm not sure how to do it, you know, but yes, correct.
Because I think JSX, like, hey, JSX, like, I wouldn't see who their VP of partnerships are, or like director of partnerships, and I'm like, hey, can I like funnel people to you guys?
It's a great idea.
And then can I make 5-10%?
So they're crushing it at content, and which is great. The guy's young, he's good at it, whether it's staged or not. I mean, I know a lot of it's staged, but he's got attention, and that brings something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
I think attention is the new oil. I think that stays true today. As a business owner, you'll just get demolished by people who doesn't have attention. Like, you can go out to events and you can spend an hour meeting 4 or 5 people. I can spend an hour, make 2 videos, and get me 1,000 views to people that actually would be interested in what I do if I do it correctly. So Dan Martell says it, I'm gonna borrow it from his words. Dan Martell says, you know, there's 4 ways of leverage: content, code, there's people, and there is capital, right? So if you're not using one of those 4, and I think AI kind of can be used in all of them too, like, that's like supercharging it. I think it's, you know, those who doesn't use it, doesn't make content, doesn't use AI, I think very concerning.
I agree. If you're a busy professional making more than $200,000 per year and you want to put your money to work, come partner with us at Captain Capital. We buy and develop recession-proof industrial warehouse, and we do all the hard work so that you don't have to. Go to CaptainCapital.com, book a call with the team, sponsor limited, and don't miss out on our next opportunity. Let's shift gears. I'm going to ask you something. This is a great question for you. If you want someone to feel something in 15 seconds, how do you do it?
Feel something. Just something.
Through content. Yeah, correct.
In the context of content. Got it. Picking the right words, picking the right topics to say. If I can do it in 7. I'll put I'm actually making a video about this. A simple picture of old me. I'd be like, you know, talking to my old me. Did we make it yet in America? And it have like a really nice music to it. And then now it cycles a picture of me doing all of this stuff. I love it. Now you have an emotion.
I haven't even seen it. And right. Now I can feel it already.
Right. And why is that? Right. Relatability. You can relate to it. A lot of people can relate to that story. Inspiration. It sparks some sort of emotional response, right?
A connection.
Connection. Yeah. The choices of words that I use, talking to my younger self, that itself evokes an emotion. So, and if you pick the right music, now you could even deliver more of those emotions. So that's how
a good piece for me would be like a photo of me and my dad flying a small airplane when he was training back in the day. And then there's me.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Nowadays,
yeah, so you can do that with 7 seconds.
But it's a connection and an emotional piece.
Exactly.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, like my goal, you know, we're like I said, we're about to break ground on our industrial development in Houston in like 10 days. And my goal, what I'm going to do in the fall when the buildings are actually up and there's concrete on the ground, I'm going to take my kid, I'm going to airline him out there. We're going to go out there and I'm going to literally do some YouTube stuff in long form. But I want to introduce my kid to, hey, this is what dad does besides fly private jets. And really it's just to show him like you could build this. As a kid, I never thought I'd be building real estate.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. You know, I read a book in college and that's where I'm like, whoa, I can do more than just be a pilot or something like that. So
it'd be kind of cool, like if you have like a picture of your kid and it puts like some music in there and just be like, put like a word like POV my kid in like 15 years. Dad, why are we so successful? And it cuts into a video of you like building because I work hard for this. You kind of like do like a real B-rolls of you like looking around the property and stuff like that. I think
or something like you said, like I'm taking a risk.
Yeah,
I'm risking all of my income, right? And that's kind of what I do with real estate. I fly airplanes. I put it into real estate to hopefully, you know, make it big or whatever you want to call it. Or find financial freedom. That's the real goal. But that's something I'm doing. So that hopefully that's a connection. I want to connect with other people, investors, you know. I mean, I get a lot of investors from YouTube and I'm shocked.
Is that crazy?
But I've had like 1 or 2 really cool, I did it in this studio. I explained how we underwrite for industrial warehouse development.
Yeah.
And I've gotten multiple different, not investors yet, but multiple different leads where they go to my website, sign up on the form to have a phone call. And it's like, so I want to do more of that.
I think people like quit too early when it comes to content. Like like that feeling that you had. I've had. I remember the first time where somebody DM'd me like, "Hey, like, I'll learn more about what you do. I saw your." I remember it was specifically in Las Vegas. Somebody's like, "Hey, I saw your TikTok about creating content. Like, I want to see how we can work together." Turned out to be one of my first ever paying clients, and I was like, "This shit works."
But it's
I don't know if you're curious, but like,
it's putting yourself out there, right?
Yeah, and it's scalable too. Like, it took me like 2 minutes to make that video. Like, what the heck, you know?
Yep. All right, let's make a shift. Let's go into AI a little bit because it's really mixing up the space. Even though, I know we used a little bit of AI to help with scripts and some research and things, but now AI is getting wild, right?
Oh, yeah.
The advancements. So now that AI can generate endless video clips, what builds trust, not just views?
Oh, that's a great question. That's two different. Yeah, it
is, but you're competing against AI, right?
Yes.
There's one difference that you can use it as a tool, but then still, what builds trust?
Trust, man. I think trust is like, I feel like it's an interesting word because there's a lot of different definition of what trust means, right? So to me, I think trust is like, if you say show up for me, will they show up for you? That's how I define trust, right? If you have a call to action to do something, will they do it? That's to me is trust, right? And I necessarily don't think that I'm not competing with AI in a way that like I'd rather use it to leverage my current content to build deeper trust with me. And I think if you still don't know the fundamentals of like, okay, like who am I talking to? What is my purpose and what's my goal? No matter how much AI that you're gonna do, you're not going to be able to just build any trust. And being able to use AI to scale your operation, content, clone yourself, make yourself have like podcast to itself without you even being there, I think that adds to it. So I don't necessarily see it competing with AI. I see it as like, if you are using AI, now the better question is like, how can I leverage AI to build more trust with my people? And I think we're going into this world, by the time this episode release, probably ChatGPT 5 is already going to be a thing. They're actually planning on releasing it today at the time that we're recording it at 10 a.m. Now, I think those who knows exactly about like that, how the customer goes through that funnel of trust. If you think about, there's like a marketing funnel for conversion. There's like also probably a marketing funnel for trust, right? Because they have to know you first. They have to build more and more and more trust with you to actually like to actually like see if you're real. I think if you really have a deep understanding of that and how they can build more trust with you, I think that would be better. Yeah.
What AI tools are you using in your business, and like where do you draw the line?
Draw the line in what line?
Well, because like we talked about earlier before camera, like there's AI creators that are literally just fake people creating AI that are building an audience, getting brand deals, and it's a fake person. There's probably not a lot of trust there,
right?
Because at some point somebody's gonna figure out, wow, that's AI. That's not even a real person.
Yeah.
So like what tools are you using in your business?
Yeah.
And then at some point you draw a line, unless that goal is an AI fake person.
I know, right? Yeah. So tools changes over time, I think, and that's something to say. Like the tools that we're talking about today might be different than the tools that I'll be using by the time this episode released, because things move so quickly nowadays. But we use things like Poppy. Poppy is basically like a Miro board with Claude and ChatGPT combined. What's crazy is like 2 years ago, I would have to script all of the videos for all of our clients, just me and myself, coming up with all the hooks, the body and all that stuff. And now we have somebody in our team that scripts like 200, 250 videos every single month. And that's kind of like not even their whole thing that they have to do. They could do more stuff. So that one has been very useful to us. We still use a lot of ChatGPT and Claude. I use ChatGPT a lot to really like become almost like a business coach in a way, and also like think about logical reasonings. That's like really cool. We have this tool called Lovable, which is awesome. Like we built landing pages there, we built websites there, which I think is super helpful. Like I would have never thought, like I never know how to code beforehand. And with Lovable, I could just like talk it out like, hey, I want to make this site that would funnel into this, or this tool that could, add like a paywall and stuff like that, and it could build that for me. So we use that. But there's other ones. There's HeyGen too. We've in the process of like trying to clone some of our clients. That way, like instead of like us filming in person, we can create clones of them that actually talk, which is really cool. Now, I think where we draw the line is like, we don't want it to replace ourselves. That's not the goal. It's not to replace ourselves, not completely, right? The goal is, let's say I need to make a video about a training video for my team for whatever reason. Let's say I want to make a training video as how they should go on a shoot. I can just create a script on that. I'll make my AI me do that, talking, right? So I think that is going to be there. And all the tasks that requires creativity, like even though my team writes like 200, 250 scripts every single month, I still review them, every single one of them, to make sure that they're all like, there's these little nuances that they tend to miss, right? The hooks, some of the words kind of weird. So I would like change it around. So I still oversee it, right? I think what is currently not replaceable yet, as of we're recording this, is the human creativity piece of it. And that is where we kind of draw the line. But as much as leveraging it, I think we leverage the heck out of it. Yeah. Like if we need B-rolls, instead of using our stock B-rolls for our videos, like now we go into ChatGPT image generation, right? We create our own B-rolls from there, and now it's like unlimited.
That's pretty cool. I haven't heard of that yet.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild. I've never asked for it, but I asked ChatGPT for something. My air conditioner broke.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, where do I start? And it's like, okay, the fuse, the breaker, and literally it printed a form. And it goes, so I go to Home Depot, I replace fuses. It sounds funny, but this is just, we're like right before a birthday party. I'm like, oh my God, it's 9:00 at night.
Yeah. I
got to try and fix it. Go to Home Depot, replace the fuses. Darn it, still's not working. ChatGPT goes, okay, it's most likely the capacitor. It's $10 or $20. You take the cover, and it showed me, it said, do you want me to show you a digital, sequence order? And it printed a photo. And that's actually what fixed it.
Is that crazy?
Like a $10 capacitor, $20, whatever. And it showed me how to do it and connect the wires right. And it's like, so between YouTube or ChatGPT now, for anything.
You know what's funny? Yesterday I saw a video of this lady. She was at Walmart and she was about to buy a watermelon. She didn't know which one's the most ripe. So she just took a picture, took it to ChatGPT, be like, which one of these is most ripe? And ChatGPT was like, here, it draws an image, like an arrow of like this one because of this. Because when you see like the yellow wing and stuff like that, she bought that one. She opened it. It was the most ripe one.
It is,
which is crazy.
It is so smart. How about this? What's your top performing video framework right now?
Top performing meaning views?
Yeah,
I would assume so.
Yeah, right? Pretty much views.
I think if somebody wants to go viral, we have this 3-step framework that we use to so far consistently gone viral every single time we want to. It's the COS framework. The COS framework, the COS frameworks, basically stand for controversy. So having some sort of controversy, it doesn't mean like you have to like rage bait people. I think it's just like something that probably people don't think about as often, stuff like that. So anything that's controversial. Number 2 is the O stands for opinions. So having a strong opinions towards something. And the S is a shock factor, something shocking about what happened. So I think if you can combine the COS framework together, that's where you get like the 1 million+ views. And if you can leverage one of those three qualities, you'd get quote unquote a viral video, depending on how you define that, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 views. We've seen that with a lot of our clients and stuff like that. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Do you think, getting back to AI, do you think audiences will care if a brand's content is AI generated in the future?
I don't know. Because I notice me and myself, sometimes I actually enjoy it too. That's something that I would love to find out, like what the next like year or two is going to be like. So there's this thing called the internet debt theory. Have you heard of it?
No.
So the internet debt theory is basically saying that we're going to come to a point, if we keep continuing with this AI content and stuff like that, that when we get into our digital social medias and stuff like that, people would just start assuming that everything there is fake. So it says that internet is dead because like the trust on the internet for it being real is going to be gone. Doesn't mean that people are going to stop consuming, but brands don't want that. YouTube and all these platforms don't want that, because that is a dangerous thing to be, because then you lose trust in the platform. Like if you go to YouTube, like, oh, everything is here, it's going to be fake anyways. You now have lose trust, right? So that's like that theory that it could happen if we don't watch it. And I think a lot of these platforms are already making moves towards that. Like YouTube's like demonetizing a lot of AI content and stuff like that if it's not original. There's a lot of talks about that. And but me personally, I know there's this Instagram channel that I watch about marketing, and I know the person talking is AI, and I could tell, but the content is actually pretty interesting. Now, the question is, will I remember her? Probably not. I just know her that she shows up on my feeds. So there's that level of trust, I think, in my opinion, right?
You're probably not building a connection where if I post stuff with that I'm a family guy and I travel with my kids and I do that, that's where a connection where other people have kids and then we connect. And so probably with AI in the future, you're not connecting with that person, but you are getting the information.
Right. But I'm curious. Now, here's the question. Like, what if like, there's an AI that talks about that? That talks about the parenting, the kids and stuff like that. Could you feel connected?
I don't think so.
No?
Me personally, no. It depends on how fake it really was. Is it a family of 4 that's an AI and you can hardly tell and they talk about the stories? Because you can teach AI almost anything, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Maybe not emotion, but I bet you someday you will be able to teach that, through AI. So hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
I know for me, I do like connecting with people that struggle and then they go through a struggle and they come out on the other side because there's experience in that, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I can kind of connect. And I like seeing these other very successful real estate people be like, oh yeah, I've lost money and I've done this, and you can kind of connect and go, oh, how'd you make it through? Because that's the hardest part.
Yeah, I think what's interesting and what I'm looking into now is like I'm looking for people who can build that deep brand trust within the creator space, right? And who are those people? I'm looking into like streaming, like streamers. Because if you think about these Twitch streamers, so there is a stats out there. I read a while ago, I forgot what's the source, but on average, people watch about around 2,000 shorts TikTok creators every single day. Wow. 2,000. You swipe. So you don't even know who you're watching. It's kind of like, you're like,
that's why they say you got 3 seconds to catch the view.
Correct, exactly. Boom, 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 boom. 2,000 exposure to like different creators. Whereas streaming, you get about, people typically don't watch more than 3 to 4 streaming like shows in a week, like ever. And I feel like, long form podcasts and YouTube's kind of right in the middle. Because I don't watch more than like 4 YouTube channels probably, or 5 YouTube channels. And podcasts too, I only listen to probably like 3. I don't listen to like a lot of podcasts, right? So I think learning to like, if you see like these streamers, like they get the most like people that trust them show up for them. If you see like the Kai Cenats of the world, the Speed, Drewski, all these people, like, yeah, they're like a personality and stuff, but like you've seen like Speed when they go around the different countries and stuff, like you get like hundreds of thousands of people that shows up on their show. I'm just like, all those people have jobs. They show up, they're spending their time with them. I think the trust is so deep. For me, that's something that I'm learning right now. I'm just trying to figure that out.
Do you think that comes from like streaming, like live streams and stuff, like you said with Chris Luna earlier?
I think there is an element of it. And again, like I'm not a psychologist on that side. I think there is an element of feeling that you are together with that person because of the time spent. I think a lot of these people, they have 3 to 4 hour streams where you feel like you're a part of their journey the whole time, right? And I think the longer that you spend, like you're kind of like almost you're investing your mental energy towards that creator, which I think overall builds that deeper brand. That's my hypothesis.
It'd be pretty cool to do a live stream because you can do it on your phone, right?
You can do it everywhere.
So if the airplane has Starlink or Wi-Fi, it'd be pretty cool to go on a private flight, live stream the whole experience.
Yeah.
Not just do a YouTube. I did a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it only got like 10,000 views. So now I'm like, yesterday, the video's a year old, but now I'm like, maybe I should change the title because it's not very clear. Like,
thumbnails,
experiment a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't realize you could do it a year later and still get views.
Yeah.
And like get it. But a live stream on a private jet, the whole experience would be kind of fun.
And I think there's also like a dopamine being triggered if you were to comment on a live stream like, oh my God, like whatever, like that's so funny, or like you ask a question and then the streamer called out your name.
I agree. I think that even for me, I go on some live streams, mostly the real estate. And you'll ask a legit question.
Yeah.
And then I have a couple that like give me a cool call out, like, "Hey, Captain Curt's got a really cool Instagram." All this stuff.
You
it's like, man, that's cool,
right? Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So I think that, again, I'm not a psychologist, but I think like that is part of the reason why there's this very famous, it's a pretty viral video on YouTube where they had this creators soccer league or football match or whatever they call it in UK, and I think like they were calling out like as the players making it into the field, they're like from the shorts creators, there's like the YouTube creators, and there's like the streaming creators. Like the shorts creators have like the smallest like cheer, and you get louder with the YouTube one, and then the streamer one, you're like, yeah, everyone's like crazy. And I was like, so interesting is how much they feel connected to that
I agree with you, because so I've been watching a lot of YouTube. I want to go lately, I should say. I never used to. Now I'm watching a lot more long form YouTube because I want to get into it.
Yeah,
I want to do less shorts and more long form.
Yeah.
But there's an art to it. It's definitely tell a story. It's got to have a hook. It's got to keep them watching. It's got to be entertaining. And anyways, but it's funny to see how some of these YouTube people have huge YouTubes, small Instagrams, like followings.
Yeah.
So I know somebody has like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube and like 70,000 on Instagram.
Yeah.
Even though they cut those up, make some shorts and do some stuff on there.
Sure.
But their prime focus is YouTube, and they're making a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
But it's wild how people are more into the long form. And honestly, these people I'm talking about, I like their YouTubes better because you get to spend more time with them.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting.
I think you also have like I think the way I look at it is which platform is going to give you reach, which one's going to give you the deeper trust, right? And it requires a lot more skill to do a podcast, to do a YouTube, right? People think podcast is easy, but I don't think so. If you want to be good at it, if you're just rambling, it's easy, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're actually like preparing it and stuff like that, it takes a lot of time, right? And same goes with YouTube. It takes a lot more time. But I think if you do it well, you can build more trust. Whereas you can get 2,000 creators seen every single day. That's how you're going to get the reach, right? So I think if you play around with that strategy,
What's one underrated platform or strategy that deserves more attention?
I think one platform that is underserved right now, and you're probably going to be surprised that I say this, probably LinkedIn.
Oh, no, I agree with you 100%. I'm not surprised. So I've been preaching LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for like 6 months, and I continue learning. So, and I think it depends on what space you're in.
Correct.
LinkedIn for business.
Correct.
Not for entertainment, not for inspiration. It's for real business, I think.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I think LinkedIn is making this pivot right now as we record this. It's like they want to be the platform, kind of like a media platform in a way, like a content platform. And a lot of people on LinkedIn are like watching videos, watching shorts on LinkedIn. You know, people are already writing blogs and stuff like that on LinkedIn before. And I think if your goal is to connect with like B2B or people that, are in that space that are like, in the corporate space or anything like that, LinkedIn is like a great platform to be at. I still haven't cracked it yet personally, so I don't want to speak too much on LinkedIn. There's other people that can speak higher about LinkedIn than me, but we've been posting consistently on LinkedIn, and you're not going to see similar views like on TikTok or Instagram Reels, at least not yet for me, like when you got like millions or 100,000 and stuff. I'd be happy if my views get like 3,000 or something like that, 2,000.
Yeah, and LinkedIn has their own algorithm. I have a friend that is really good at LinkedIn, and she's kind of coaching me a little bit. And she's like, you got to post Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Don't post every day. Don't post on the weekends.
Right.
And because people on LinkedIn are typically at their office, in their desk, and LinkedIn's just on their Google Chrome or whatever, so it's
like
on
a tab.
there. Yeah, it's a tab, and they just go on there. So she's like, do not post on the weekend, but you can post Monday like a family photo, what you did on the weekend to connect, but then the other stuff. So it's like each platform has a different algorithm.
They do.
So you kind of have to figure out where. I know for a while LinkedIn wasn't really pushing videos. They were pushing more like blog style posts,
written posts.
Yep, written posts and a photo, and you wanted different ones. Now they're starting to push. Now they're saying like the algorithm is like post one video a week, one Twitter style or like inspirational education, and then one photo, like whatever it may be. Yeah. So I may start, and her theory, and she had raised a lot of money for Intuit. She works for Intuit.
Oh, nice.
And so she's very well connected there. And anyway, so she said, you want the post to marinate. You don't want to post twice a day. You don't want to post because the post reaches more and more as you go. So when we first started, I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I wasn't even that consistent with that. Now I'm being really consistent.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, he went from like 0 to 43,000 followers
On LinkedIn. That's crazy.
And he does what I do. He owns a business of developing business, and he develops real estate.
Yeah.
And he goes, I have so many investors, mostly from LinkedIn. It's people that are at business, at their jobs, they have money, and I've been getting leads from LinkedIn as well. So I'm heavy into LinkedIn.
I'm bullish on LinkedIn too.
I'm bullish on LinkedIn for real estate, YouTube more for videos, which would be aviation related. They're a little bit more on development videos, like long form. So I'm maybe walking a property. So like in 2 weeks or September 2nd, I'm going to Houston because we're gonna have like our lot. We have trees in a couple of mobile homes. It'll be all graded, right?
Yeah.
Before we pour concrete pads and the buildings go up. So I'm gonna make a long 30-minute YouTube video on the full development of this first project, and I'm gonna go every 4 weeks. You know what I mean? So it's a long video. It's gonna take me 7 months.
Yeah.
But I have to just store it and wait. You know.
yeah.
But I want a nice long form platform of how we develop real estate so people can just educate and see it.
Again, they can build trust with you.
100%. And you know what I'll probably do? I'll probably even host a meetup out there.
But that's even better.
In the fall, like October, November, when the building's up, hey, free meetup. Come check it out, walk the property, see what the asset class is. Yeah. And I'll probably post that all over LinkedIn. You get the serious people.
I think going back to that internet debt theory too, like if we ever get to that space, which I hope we don't, but if we were to go into the internet and think everything is fake, the only thing that's going to be real is the one-to-one in-person, like, realness to it. And I think if you have like an in-person community, I know there's a lot of people also that has started like networking events, wellness events, like they could do like yoga or run or something like that, or some sort of like that. I think something to think about there to kind of like really build that relationship, Yeah,
I know for me, we met in person. We might not have done business if we didn't meet in person.
Correct,
because you can feel someone's energy. You can kind of build trust that way.
Right.
And if you're good at reading people, you can read them in person. So I think even if you have all this content, you do everything online, like you got to have some kind of in-person meetups.
I think so. Eventually, yeah, exactly. I think for those of you, if you guys are like in the very beginning, if they're like on the one-on-one level, start posting, build the credibility first, maybe attend events, right? And once you start building that brand, I think it'd be good to consider what is that in-person experiences are going to be like. So, yeah.
So this podcast for me is newer, right? And I actually love it because I get to have these conversations, build relationships in person.
That's awesome.
If this was my one focus, right? What is the fastest way to grow a podcast in your opinion?
Fastest way to grow a podcast? I would market it like a product. I think about how you just market your own offer and your own product. Think about that with your podcast as the offer and get people to watch it. Send it to your email list, run ads to it. Because podcasting itself, going back to that time, typically people only watch 3 to 4 podcasts total. So how do you get people to even consider your podcast? Number one, they have to discover your podcast. And Spotify is not really, or Apple Music, both Spotify, they're not really good discoverability platforms. They're kind of like if you already know what you're going to listen to. So I would go heavy into the cutting out clips for your podcast so that people get discovered. Again, 2,000 people watches shorts every single day. That's where get more eyes to see your podcast, and that should lead back into your podcast. Run ads to it. If you have your in-person events, tell people about your podcast, make them listen to it, right? I think, again, if you want to do podcasts correctly, treating it like it's an actual product and actually advertising like it is a product. Don't just expect by posting it out there to grow it well. And do it consistently too. A lot of people don't make it past their 20 episodes. I think that's some of the, somewhere around there. That's the stat. So it's a time game too.
Yeah, and podcasts, it's more expensive than I planned for. It takes more time than you planned for. And then with my schedule, it's kind of hard to book guests. It's not hard to do it, but it's hard to align schedules because mine changes rapidly.
Right.
So if I have, I haven't had to do it yet, but if I have to cancel a podcast, if they're from out of town, you don't want to cancel on them. But if I get called to go fly and make $10,000, do you think that podcast that's going to cost me $500 or me making 10 grand for the family is going to be better?
Yeah.
So I haven't had that yet, but it's like a fine line where it may happen someday. But if I have guests from out of town, you can't cancel on them.
Here's my question to you, as a someone who has a podcast, podcast to podcast. Like, it's how do you enjoy online podcasts or like virtual podcasts?
I don't enjoy virtual. I just did my first one with Kevin Show the other day. I usually turn them down. I personally, and now I may be rethinking that. I don't think you develop a relationship on virtual podcasts. Okay. But now what I'm realizing is, mainly because I have my own podcast, I should probably accept more of those invitations and go on their podcasts, to whether it's just getting my name out there more. Yeah. Period. Whether it's a good one or a bad one, I can get clips from it, whatever, right? Yeah. You can always get some kind of info out of something. Right. So even on Kevin's, it was fun. He wanted to learn about, he's a real estate guy with Pace Morby. Yeah. And now he wants to, he's getting into aviation a little bit. And he's like, oh my God, it's so cool. So I still get to share my expertise, but I normally say no to virtual. I like the in-person. The content's better. The clips are better in person. Yeah. In my opinion. Yeah, it looks better. Yeah. It looks better. But it's more money, more time, more virtual. I could bring my mic. I know a pilot. I think it's Pilot to Pilot podcast. He's doing pretty well. Yeah. He brings his microphone. He does everything is virtual, and he brings his mic. Not on the plane, but all the hotels. All the hotels. So he does it from the hotel room, and I'm like, wow, I could do that. I could bring a mic in my laptop. Yeah. And I could do that. Yeah. But I wouldn't do it for my show. I would do it for their show, other shows. So this is the interesting part too. I think if you if you host a podcast, one thing that I would look into is Spotify every single year release, at least for the past 2 years, I don't know if they're going to release it this year, they release the audience behaviors on their platforms. And I think it's so fascinating to watch, because they say that from, this was in 2024, I believe. I could be wrong. 2023. When I read this paper, was that most people discover a new podcast. The number one way was through shorts, social media content that directs traffic back, and number two is through appearing on other guests as a guest, and number three is being recommended podcasts. Those are the top three ways, and the percentage differs. I think with the shorts and the reels is 80%, and it goes to 60% through appearing on other podcasts, and then being referred to other people is 30%, something like that. I could be wrong on the numbers, but I would look up that Spotify audience, Spotify podcast report or something like that. Their paper, they release it every single year, and it's fascinating to see the behaviors of the people that listen to podcasts and what time of the day do they usually listen to it. So this is a business podcast, and on their review says people probably between 7 a.m. to about 11 a.m. That's when they listen to business podcasts. So now if you have a podcast, you can think about ways to optimize that. You know what I mean? This is something that they're going to listen to inside of their car as they're going to work or maybe coming back from work. Whereas the more fun comedy podcasts, more lifestyle type podcasts, typically people listen to those 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's people where you usually eat dinner, cook, stuff like that. So very fascinating report. It's free. You can just access it. So yeah, that's why I release my podcast 8 a.m. every Wednesday. I've heard Monday and Fridays aren't so good. People are cleaning up from work or taking Fridays or Mondays off of work. Right. So I'm a Wednesday at 8 a.m. I may move it to 7, but 8 a.m. has been working pretty good because they say people are driving to work at 9 a.m. or they're driving to work from 7 to 9. So maybe even I move it up to 7 a.m. You know, and then you got the East Coast too, right? So if you release it at 8 a.m. on the West Coast, you're at 11 a.m. already on the East Coast. So I'm going to kind of experiment a little more. It's funny to me after watching my analytics that some of the shows get a ton of views or downloads, you know how they track it, and then some don't get very many, and I'm not sure why. Is it the title? I mean, things that maybe I got to experiment with a little bit. I think so. Yeah, I think it's same like anything, right? It's packaging. How's the packaging of things? And what I find surprising about that audience report was how people find new podcasts, because it made me think about my own ways. I only listen to 3 podcasts, usually Diary of a CEO, Alex Hormozi's, great one, right? Alex Hormozi's. Sometimes I would do
like modern wisdom. That's the only three that I would probably watch. Maybe Joe Rogan here and there, like very random stuff. Theo Von maybe, but like not consistently. So if you understand your own behavior, how you listen to these podcasts, where did you hear about these podcasts,
It's
right?
a really good point. Like I like Joe Rogan, but I don't listen to every episode. I listen to another one called the All In Podcast. It's hedge fund founders, like big finance guys, but they're very, very good. It's a very large podcast, but I pick based on the title of the shows that I'm gonna listen to.
So I think that's like something to think about, right? Like if you know your own behavior on that, like how do we reverse engineer it for your own podcast? Okay, so what about that title makes you want to watch it? Because if you are your own target audience, for example, right, now you can like mimic that setup. Like, do they have the episode at first, or do they have like, do they even put the name of the guest at all? You know what I mean? Like I know the RFC.
Yeah, like the name of the guest should only really be important if they're well known.
Right.
So, like for example, I have a team that does my thumbnails. I give them like, hey, this is what this person does, and then they give me a sample or two, and then they send it over, and I'm like, cool, the photos are good, the font's good, but the title's not good.
Yeah.
And, last week I had my friend on that does Section 8 real estate, but he sold a business for millions. Now he does Section 8, right? I try to get different guests with different skill sets.
Yeah.
Right? For the audience and for me to learn, but more to the audience. And they came back with like, from business owner to landlord as the title. And I'm like, that's boring. It's the truth, but that's boring.
Yeah.
So I created, not using ChatGPT, just out of my own brain. I was like thinking and being creative. And I was like, how about like how to get the government to pay your mortgages and tenants' rent?
That's fire.
So that's what last week's, and I changed it yesterday after we released.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, we can't meet got to meet the release. We're a little bit behind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that was 10 times better. So I told them, I'm like, and some of it's on my own fault where, for example, today's Thursday, this will release on Wednesday. And then I'll have another guest tomorrow. He'll be the next Wednesday. But I'm out of town for the next 10 days. So I have to try and get 2 to 3, 4 podcasts lined up early to give the team time to do all the editing and everything else.
Yep.
So it's a little challenging with my job.
Right.
If I worked in this office every day, man, I'd be doing 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah.
I would. But I can't. I don't have the big enough team yet and whatnot. But I love the podcast stuff. But
hey, but you're doing it. That's the most important part.
Like you said, get started. I wanted to get started over a year ago.
Start ugly. Start ugly.
I wanted to start in a nice studio.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah.
But now it's like you said, it's a learning curve and it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Start before you're ready.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wish it would have started earlier because you learn each time you go.
For sure.
I'm editing a little bit differently. I'm doing that. You're just learning, and I'm watching other big shows.
It's a skill.
It is a skill. Yeah. Even interviewing is a skill.
Oh,
how to not go off
skill.
onto tangents, but how to give back to the audience, but how to connect with you and give valuable information.
Yeah. It's such a skill. Like people think like, oh, like, it's all about just talking. Like what is talking,
it's
right?
It's
not
that
that
boring. People won't want to listen to it unless we're delivering some kind of good info and experience.
And even when people think about one of my biggest things, like how do you like a lot of people tell me like, how do you sound so engaging on camera? I'm like, well, it's not just about what I say, it's about how I say it. The tone, the ups and downs, slow down, making it more fast, make it more, you know what I mean? It's all these different things.
And it's like
nuanced skills.
I think on the podcast, it's delivering the right questions clearly. And if it's not clear, restate it or differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's an art form though. And I think it takes reps.
It does.
Comparing myself
like everything.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I know my friend Enrico runs Mel Robbins' podcast. And so I'm paying him for a consult. We've been trying for a little bit. I need to get on it.
Yeah.
And just pay him for a consult to grow quicker. But he's like, look, you don't have a huge team. He's like, we have like someone that only does thumbnail and titles. Like their full-time 40-hour-a-week job. And so he's like, well, tell me what your real goal is with the podcast too. And I'm like, oh, make money with it. Maybe get some brand deals because I really enjoy doing it. So might as well try and make some money on it, right?
Yeah.
Or at least pay for itself. But let's wrap it up soon and keep on time. I know we've gone over a little bit. Let's get the last couple questions for you. What drives you right now today to keep short form pros really evolving and helping more founders?
I think what really drives me is just a pursuit of the greatness. Kind of going back to my story, I think maximizing every single opportunity, maximizing the path that I'm on is always the pursuit. I think I'm far from where I wanted to be at. I still have so much to learn, all the different platforms, all these marketing brands, all that stuff, right? So I think what keeps me going every day is, number one, I love what I do. So it doesn't feel like work. Sometimes people have to tell me like, yo, you need to take a break sometimes. And I'm like, you're right. I need some time, my physical body needs it. But really just the pursuit of just being great at what I do. That's what drives me forward, and continuing to learn that every single day. That's why we keep going.
I mean, it's great when you love something you know that you're doing. It just makes it that much easier.
It's so awesome. I think I pray and I hope for everybody to find what that thing is for them, because I think it's such an incredible feeling when you can go for 8, 10, 12, 15 hours in a day. And literally the only thing stopping you back is just your physical ability as a human to just like need to rest.
And I can relate in the real estate side, right? For me. And it's like, I'm trying to spend more time with the family and on myself. Like back into surfing, I golfed the other day. That hasn't happened in a long time because I just grind and I enjoy the real estate side.
Yeah.
Same, like I could start, at the gym at 5:30 in the morning. And if I didn't have kids, I'd work till 10 p.m.
Yeah.
But because I have kids, I end my day at 3 o'clock and I go have family time. It's great. But now it's like, it's hard to turn it off if you're a hustler and you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's hard,
Yeah.
And, but that's great to hear that you just love it and keep pursuing. And that's what the real estate game, separate from content, but that's what the real estate game is.
That's what entrepreneurship is all
go.
about.
It's probably more the entrepreneurship game.
Yeah.
And, I'll never retire because I don't want to.
Right.
But I know people that are in their 70s and 80s that sit on their yacht in Catalina and are still looking for commercial real estate deals.
Yeah.
Because it's not work. It's a game that they're not stressed about playing. That's their hobby.
Playing, yeah.
It's a game.
Just playing, yeah. I think one thing too for me, like I do want to say, it's like, I believe that one of the core values that my grandparents instilled with me since when I was like little is you gotta leave the world a better place from where you found it. So I believe entrepreneurs are the biggest and the best at bringing value to the world. Not necessarily changing it, but maybe even improving it, right? So I believe in that spirit, that like creating that value, and the money is gonna come. The money is gonna be the money's the output, the result. Sorry, the result of your output, right? So it's like, if you just focus on just wanted to bring good to the world, whatever it is, in whatever industry, whatever thing, I think you'd go a long way. So
agreed. All right, 2 last questions.
Let's do it.
One, I like to ask every guest,
Yeah.
what are 2 books off the top of your head that you think listeners should read that really made an impact on you?
It's a great one. One that made a really big impact for me when it comes to books is, the first thing is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think
The Dale Carnegie?
Dale Carnegie, yes. Coming from an immigrant background, like I didn't know how to communicate, especially in this new country of America right at the time. And reading that book just helped me solve like a lot of that stuff. And I still reread it once every couple of years and stuff. That's number one. And number 2, it's a tough one. I don't read a lot of books, but I read like very selective books. I think one that made an impact for me lately is probably Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers and leads, both of those. And there's kind of like a series book. But I think if you want to start a business, an entrepreneur, whatever it is, solopreneur, reading those 2 books would really help you a long way. And he made it very simple to understand, easy to understand. Like,
I agree, because no matter what business you have to sell the product. And you have to know how to offer it.
Right.
And those are 2 great books on how to connect with people and how to sell.
I have my cousins right now going to San Diego State for college studying, psychology. And I told her, like, if you ever wanted to start a business, which I think she'd want to, honestly, like, I could have ditched college education and just read those 2 books, and I would have learned it in a year.
Or less.
Like whatever, however fast I implement
I agree with you. With the info out there between podcasts,
YouTube.
Like the billionaires are going on podcasts sharing their stories.
Yeah.
And you can learn quick. And I agree with you. Like, even in college, I took some classes that were great. Business law, marketing, certain things that I got things out of that were really good.
Me too, yeah.
Economics. I love economics. That's probably why I like real estate, right?
Yeah.
And I learned it, and it's great, but I could have taken those courses over 4 weeks. Yes. Like full time. Like, I almost want to say I'm not even a fan of college anymore. And a lot of people aren't. I tell people that are, let's say, high schoolers, if they're in sports, You should only go to college if you want to live like the D1 and go play sports. And the team stuff was so fun in college for me.
Right.
But overall, like, I wouldn't want to go back.
Yeah.
Like, I just think there's other ways to learn. And even right now, we're thinking, even though my kids are very young, education system has changed. Like, we're debating part-time homeschool, a mix of, there's different programs now where I think kids can learn so fast.
Yeah.
But learn the things that you want them to learn, or the better things.
Yes.
Like some of the subjects they're teaching in school, it just takes them forever to learn a topic.
Right.
Like, they don't need to go to school for a month to learn about some kind of history.
Right.
I would rather take my family traveling and see the history. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to learn about the Boston Tea Party, let's go to Boston.
Yeah. And
Like, I'm just saying that there's other philosophies out there that I'm watching other families do.
Yeah.
That I think are great, and it kind of relates to college too.
Yeah, I think education is being reshaped, especially with AI and all of that stuff. I think we're gonna see. I have a little sister who's also 11. She's in about 7 years. She's gonna at the college age, right? I think it's gonna look so different in about 7 years.
I mean, you're talking doctor, lawyer. Yeah, you got to go to college.
Engineer, maybe.
Engineer.
Yep, makes sense.
We want them to go to college. But
We do, yeah.
If you're talking like pilots don't need to go to college, it's not even required. Like contractors, that's a good
technicians,
business. Technicians. Entrepreneurs,
artists. I think if you see it as like a skill, like you still have to develop the skill. Like, not going to college doesn't mean you don't have to develop the skill, but there's alternative ways. Like, I spent like $35,000 with like student aid to go to San Diego State. Like, people always think about, oh my God, I don't want to pay for like a $5,000 course or whatever. It's like, you paid $35,000 at the very low end to go to a college school for 4 years. Like, I'm rethinking now, like, imagine if I were to have $30,000 today, like, there was a course that I would have bought for $97 a month. Like, I'm like, what? Like, I would learn how to create an offer, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would learn digital marketing. I would learn about AI automation. Like, it's so crazy to me that, like, it's possible today.
100%.
It's
and I
insane.
agree with you. All right, final question, kind of a loaded one.
Oh.
If someone listening wants to start content and they have yet,
okay,
what should they do in the next 90 days to launch their brand?
What is they gonna do?
What's your advice for 90 days? What should they do for the next 90 days?
I'm gonna keep it simple. You take out your phone, you think about what you know about, and press record and press post every single day for 90 days. That's it. Keep it simple.
I like it. Unedited.
Yeah,
just posting.
Just post it. People record, but they don't post. I'm like, no, dude, post it.
I agree with that. And I literally saw something last night, and I was researching how do I grow my YouTube channel. And obviously the algorithm changes all the time, right?
Yeah.
Think Media, Sean,
I love
and all,
Sean,
they're huge. They have like 3 million subscribers. They said, pull your camera out, your phone, whatever it is, and just document.
Yeah.
Don't even create a video with a story. Document everything you do. That's the story. And then build a video off of that.
Yeah, I think people make it so complicated. It's like your first time at the gym. I use the gym as an example a lot because I think everybody could relate to it, right? Like, your first day at the gym, you don't know what like 90% of the tools do. Just do what you know. Like, run the treadmill, or like start pushing things.
Look
like
at the person next to you.
Yeah,
what are they doing? What's that?
Exactly.
And then go ask them.
Exactly. I think that's like, people overthink things when it comes to content, everything. Like, when it comes to content, they're like, oh my God, do I need to do the hook, storytelling? Like, no, just see what you like, do it, post it. You'll learn along the way. Eventually, you'll learn what, a hypertrophy is. And you're going to learn about what progressive overload. That's the advanced level of it. Like, just step one, get into the gym, lift the weights. And when it comes to content, it's press record and press post. That's it.
I think that's great advice. So if anybody's listening out there and you haven't posted any content, you're not sure, pull your phone out, start posting. Or make posts with words. Yeah. Get on LinkedIn, make a text post on information you know, and post it.
You know what's crazy, man? Like, here's the thing. A lot of people now, I'm gonna call it out. Like, we're not knowledge deficient. We're not information deficient. We're almost like motivation deficient. Because if you really want to, you'll look up the Think Media. You'll go in ChatGPT, how do I grow a brand in 90 days? You'll look up the how. The how nowadays is plenty. If I want to build the next tech startup and learn how to code, I can do that. But the thing is, you got to want it. It's the mindset that stops them a lot of times. Because we're not, in the age of AI, we're not lacking the knowledge of how to do it. We're lacking the will of the want to do it. And a lot of times we have a lot of mental things that like, oh my God, I don't want my Auntie Susan to like think about like my video, stuff like that. That's what's stopping them. It's not about not knowing. It's about really listening to that voice. So like, what is that voice in your head that's telling you not to do it? Like, do you care about that voice? And if you can like name that voice, like, do I really care about what Susan think about what I'm about to talk about? You know, stuff like that.
Yep, I like it. All right, well, thanks for the show. Most important part of the show, where can listeners connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on all the platforms. Brandon Fortino. It's Brandon with a BRANDON .FORTINO. If you just Google me too, I'll show up on there too. So wherever you find me, Instagram, YouTube, whatever your platform preference is.
Great. Yeah, and we'll throw everything in the show notes, including the books that you recommend. And you guys can check out Brandon's work because he's really good at what he does. He's got a passion for it. And I enjoyed working with you. So thanks for coming on the show and dropping knowledge.
Thanks for having
me.
With
the content and AI space. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's show. We'll see you next time.
Make sure you download and tell your friends about this podcast too.
There you go. Love it.
Right.